Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. It's like Top Gun in space! Okay, I realized that I'm looking very goth today with my purple lipstick and all, but like one of my favorite songs go, start wearing purple, start wearing purple for me now. I just have to do what the music says. So me being a huge Battlestar Galactica fan, I could not miss the opportunity to talk about the new web series Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. Now, for those of you who don't know, this web series did not start out in this format. It was supposed to be a television show, then it was supposed to be a miniseries, until eventually it wound up being a web series. That being said, because it kind of started out as something else, and I think they had a bigger budget than, say, Mortal Kombat Legacy, I think technical-wise it does look a lot better than Mortal Kombat Legacy, which is the other great Machinima web series. It certainly is more similar in terms of tone and atmosphere to the Battlestar Galactica television show, whereas it has little in common tonal-wise with Caprica, which is a good thing because I don't think a lot of people, besides me, actually watched Caprica. Blood and Chrome obviously is a lot more dynamic of a show than Caprica was. You know, outside of it being a web format, it's also the fact that it is in the middle of a war. We see Battlestar Galactica, we see pilots, we see Vipers, we see Raptors. But that being said, the character of Will Adama, which we follow, which is going to be Commander Adama when he grows up even more, is so cocky. He is like, if there's one thing that the two webisodes that we've had so far wants to like drill inside our brains, is that Will Adama is one cocky motherfucker. He is the cockiest cocksucker in that entire fleet. It's a little bit of a letdown in the sense that, you know, Bill Adama was this serious, gruff man, and Kid Adama was kind of this shy, quiet child. And between these two, we have this guy who is an arrogant son of a bitch. And that is simply not something that I associated Adama with at any point in his life. And it is for that reason that I like his co-pilot a lot more as a character, whose name, I think it's Cocker or Cooker or something like that. I don't think it's Cocker though. But he plays the role of the seasoned veteran, the soldier that cannot wait to get out of this Cylon war. And I like that simply because he seems more down to earth. Like the first time I ever saw him, I thought maybe he's going to be the chief character in here, he's going to be the engineer, but actually he's the co-pilot. But he's, you know, very down to earth, very everyman kind of character, and I appreciate that to kind of counterbalance Will Adama's cockiness. Not a lot goes on in the first two episodes because, you know, we are talking about only 24 minutes of material tops. And in terms of the format, you know, I don't have a problem with you breaking stuff down into 10-12 minute webisodes. What I do have a problem with is manipulation, because every webisode ends with a preview of what happens in the next one, and the first ever Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome episode ended with a bit of Will Adama and his co-pilots fighting Cylons in space. And that's fine. But the problem is that in the second webisode, so the one following, that bit happens at the very, very end of the episode. And you don't actually see the fight itself, rather the chase that precedes the fight, but it certainly doesn't hold up to the promise of the preview from the first episode. And with stuff like that, I have a problem. Like, why do you show me the only interesting part in the whole episode if it's going to be at the very end of the episode and it doesn't actually lead to anything except a week of waiting? That's the kind of stuff that I have a problem with, and I would rather just say, you know, other than be manipulated like that and like wait week after week to see something interesting in those 10 minutes that you are getting, rather just wait and wait for the series to end and just see them one after the other. But it's kind of hard to actually complain about Battlestar Blood and Chrome because it is for free. Like, you see it on YouTube. That's where I saw the two episodes. I saw it on YouTube. So I don't want to be overly critical of it. And I do understand that they kind of rely on these views from week to week, because if it doesn't get good views, if it doesn't get enough traffic, then it's probably not going to actually go anywhere. We're just going to have these 10 or 12 episodes in this miniseries, and we're not going to see Battlestar Galactica on TV anymore, which will kind of suck. But the best thing I can say about it is that yes, it is reminiscent of the Battlestar Galactica television show. It's not like Caprica at all, which is a good thing, but at the same time, it does try to tie what happens in Caprica to what happens in Battlestar Galactica. It's not a big thing in the show, but you do hear Will Adama talk about his uncle and his father, and all those weird connections, and you do hear about Greystone Industries. So it does try to kind of have this circular view of the Battlestar Galactica universe. And like I said, from a technical point of view, it looks a lot better than Mortal Kombat Galaxy, The Legacy. It looks a lot better than web series in general, because I think it was produced for television, and it has certain television standards. So really, there's no point not to see this if you are a Battlestar Galactica series fan. It will take some getting used to the Will Adama character, and honestly, I would argue to wait until the web series is over and then watch all the episodes one after the other.